of the luxury leather products like handbags, purses, and shoes of Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Gucci, Coach, Prada, you name it. Most of them are made in China. Y'all, so things just went.
You know what kills me about this whole Louis V getting caught making the majority of their products in China? You know when we were kids, right? Well, this might not apply to some of y'all, but if you grew up in the inner city, if you grew up in a middle class to lower class neighborhood, you know that if you went to school and anything on your clothes said made in China, you would get roasted to death. You would get parched in school. You know what I'm saying? This is how, because China just had a reputation of being a crappy production. So anything that's made in China, everybody assumes garbage. That's it. And now, some 30 something years later, we finding out that the whole time, these so-called designer goods are actually, all of them are made in China. Every one of them. They just have made in France as a brand, made in Italy, but it's all China. So basically, we've been lied to. We've been bamboozled. That's crazy.
We're way left for Louis Vuitton, and it's not looking good at all because customers are now storming the stores after Chinese manufacturers expose some major trade secrets. Louis Vuitton, the brand we've all known and loved for its luxury and made in Europe label, is now facing a full-on public backlash from buyers who feel totally played and betrayed. See, the thing is, this isn't just another, oh, they had a bad PR moment situation like Balenciaga. No, this is a full-on brand crisis. Like, seriously, how do you even begin to explain to customers what a brand they believe represent luxury and class, and I've made it, might actually be in the biggest scam in the fashion world?
Now, why is this a scam? Why is this a scam? Because it's not that Louis V is the only company that does it, right? Nike does it. A lot of Under Armour, a lot of these other American brands, they actually outsource their production to these other countries, right? Because it's cheaper labor costs, XYZ. So why is it in particular that Louis V is scamming? In my opinion, it's all a scam. But I think that the reason why Louis V is getting their asses whooped right now in the court of public opinion is because of the margin between the production costs and the selling price. You understand what I'm saying? Because on average, based off what I found out, the average Louis Vuitton bag costs about $15 to make. But you see how they sell them, right? They have them at price at $3,000, depending for the little ones, $3,000. The big ass Louis the suitcases, the big Louis box suitcases, those can go up to like 30 grand, man. It's not cheap. So you can see where the margin they're making is insane. It's insane. And you know what else too? You know what? I ain't gonna spill all the beans at once. I'm gonna let this rock before I tell y'all some other shit.
Let's get right into this.
China makes 80% of your designer bags. Who's the Chinese supplier behind Under Armour? Shenzhou International. Nike shoes from China to your country.
Who are the suppliers behind Solomon, Timberland, New Balance, Adidas, Nike, first, from factory.
Damn, these tariffs got China snitching on everybody. God damn.
Just calling them out, they're showing the world exactly where your $1,000 handbag or your $100 leggings are really being made. They're now offering you the same exact stuff, no middleman, no markup. In a bold move that seems more like economic warfare than manufacturing, Chinese workers are lifting the lid on $1 billion illusion.
Listen, man, y'all could get mad at Trump all y'all want, but Trump really opened the doors to see for us to really see how we've been getting scammed over these couple decades. This is crazy, and they've been getting away with this too.
So it all started with a bombshell video from a factory in China, and let me tell you, the thing went viral faster than a TikTok dance trend. The video showed a factory worker casually spilling the tea on Louis Vuitton's manufacturing process. Literally everybody and their grandma has seen these TikToks because these past couple of weeks, that's literally been the only conversation being had. But for anybody tardy to the party, let me catch you up real quick. The U.S. introduces tariffs thinking they can pressure everybody, especially China. But China clapped back and in the event decided to expose just how bad the U.S. and generally every country heavily depends on Chinese manufacturing. And now that exposure is bleeding into luxury brands like Louis Vuitton. When I tell you the rude shock that these buyers were hit with, the reality that more than half of Louis Vuitton's bags are made in China. For years, LV has been feeding.
More than half? God damn near all of them. All of them were made in China. It's just that when they come to France or whichever country they send them to, they get a little, a little coding, they get the logo stamped on it. They get just the little accessories. But the majority of the production is in China. Let's not get that mistaken. Stop playing.
Yes, the story that not only was their stuff made in Europe, but they were also handmade.
Even though these brands brag about being made in Europe, the video claims that more than half of Louis Vuitton's bags are actually made in China.
Now let me break all of this down because people aren't just upset because...
Oh yeah, y'all see that? Y'all see that big pouch that we just saw, right? Listen, I'm not a Louis V savant, but I'm telling y'all, those could go for up to 30K and up. Like, those things are expensive. And I guarantee it probably don't even cost less than $100 to make that thing. That's crazy.
Because of the made in China part, though. If we are being honest, that's enough to make some heads spin. What really has folks fuming is just how cheap it is to make these bags. According to a worker, a Louis Vuitton bag could be made for around $15. And yet they're charging us thousands for it. Thousands, y'all. For what? A fancy label? Because the label is pretty much the only thing added to the bag once it lands in Europe. Now, would you blame loyal customers for breaking into an LV store to let it off their chest? If you were sold on the fact that a product is handcrafted, exclusive, high-end, only to realize it was fugazi? No, seriously, how...
Man, the whole luxury brand is fugazi. Hermes, Louis V, Gucci, Balenciaga, all of them. Frauds, scammers. They've been doing this for the longest. Why y'all think they getting so rich and we getting played?
How do you carry your former luxurious bag around after all this?
Yo, you know what? Just bear with me. We gonna skip this commercial. Yeah, get up out of here.
But of course, Louis Vuitton's got something to say about all of it. They released a statement because what else could they do? Saying, oh, don't worry, this is all lies. We promise. Our stuff is made by the top tier standards, like always. Sure.
First of all, who wrote that PR statement? That sounds like some shit a 4-year-old. Not even. I'm sorry. That sounds like some shit a 10-year-old wrote. Are you dead ass? For $1 billion company, that's all y'all had to say? Y'all didn't have no proof or nothing. Y'all just came out here and said, oh no, that's all a lie. And we supposed to believe y'all. So the Chinese showed us proof what y'all was doing. And y'all come out with a statement and think that's enough to convince us. Y'all must think we some bozos. Y'all really think we some dumbass people for real.
But here's the thing. A lot of people aren't buying any of it. And no, it's not because they don't believe Louis Vuitton can make good products. It's because they're starting to wonder if they've been totally duped for years. I mean, are we literally paying top dollar for luxury items, or are we just lining some corporate pockets? On the other hand, China isn't making it any easier because they're even teaching customers how to check if their luxury brands are made in China or not. And literally, everybody is shocked because it all checks out.
Asking you guys shall receive. You want a tutorial? I got you. So let's just click my link in my bio, and it's going to take you to my landing page. Just scroll down a little bit, and here you will find the spreadsheet. This is if you want my... Shut
up. I just want to say one thing too, man. Y'all ever notice that Louis V, all these brands, they never have a sale? If y'all ever seen Louis V have a sale, y'all could drop it in the comments, because I must be living under a rock. I've never seen, in my 30 plus years of living on earth, I've never seen Louis V say, hey, we're having a sale. They don't have sales. All the excess, all the excess inventory, they burn them shits. You heard? They burn them. They get rid of them, they throw them out, because they gotta keep the idea of scarcity, exclusivity. They gotta keep that facade alive in our heads. So as a result, they burn all their goods just to keep it scarce. And you know why they could do it? They could do it and they can afford to do it and still be profitable, because the production cost is so goddamn cheap compared to the selling price. The revenue and the profit margin is insane. So they can afford to do that. And they do this every single year. Day in, day out, year in, year out. This is how they operate. This is why they give us this false facade that they're exclusive and they're scarce and this and that. Them damn Birkin bags. You gotta go on a goddamn list to get one. You get what I'm saying? When really and truly, them bags ain't shit anyways. But they gotta give you they gotta present a facade and give you an illusion in your goddamn head to make you feel like you got something special. The whole time you got a piece of shit from a Chinese sweatshop. Y'all get what I'm saying, man? And over, man, they've been playing us. Bruh, this is truly disgusting. And I really hope that Louis V gets everything. I mean everything that they deserve. As a matter of fact, they should be cutting checks for refunds, man. This is nasty work. Nasty work.
Personalized help, and this is if you want anything added to the spreadsheet. So let's go ahead and...
You know what? I think there's a part of the video when Louis V came out and said that they try to convince us and said, hey, look, our stuff is made in France. I'm going to try to find that part because this is some BS. Hold on. Where is it?
And it's just disrespectful. LV said, transparency, never heard of her. Y'all, the arrogance is next level. And you better believe other brands are watching and plotting too. They're flipping this whole thing around. And Chanel, girl, is already acting real quiet too. And when these luxury brands get quiet, that's when their loyalists start panicking. Like right now, Louis Vuitton is really showing us how not to treat loyal customers. And it's low-key the worst PR move they could have ever made.
And now, a statement has been released to the press, seemingly from a source close to Louis Vuitton. In their statement, the source close to the brand said, Louis Vuitton want everyone to know that what these people are saying is completely false and untrue. And
Louis Vuitton, what y'all need to tell the people is that y'all full of shit. That's what y'all need to say.
they want everyone to understand that every item LV releases is made under meticulously high standards.
But this whole situation with the Chinese leaks, Louis Vuitton ain't about to let that die. No, believe it or not, the company is allegedly suing their own supposed manufacturers for leaking trade secrets to the public. And by the way, it's not just Louis Vuitton moving like that. Hermes is right there with them, fighting for their lives too. Word on the streets is Hermes and LV CEOs reportedly filed a massive lawsuit recently, accusing certain factories of lying about being their manufacturers. And on top of that, they've also allegedly sued for straight up flooding the market with fake Birkins and LVs. Y'all, it's all bad.
You see, when they gonna say that they gonna sue the Chinese manufacturers for flooding the market with fake Birkins and fake LVs, these bags are actually not fake. They're real. The only thing different about these bags on the black market, which are so-called replicas, is that they were not shipped to France to get the official stamp of the brand. That's it. That's all it is. The replicas a lot of them are made in the same exact factory. They just get shipped off to the black market and they sell them for a discount and keep the profits to themselves. Versus the other ones that are the so-called originals, these get shipped to France or whichever country, Italy, wherever. They get the stamp of approval from Louis V or whatever brand. Then they get sold for an insane markup. And then they get sent over here and we, the consumer, buy it like some idiots and get played. That's why they say, oh, that's real versus fake. It ain't really a difference in quality because as far as I'm concerned, these bags are all made in the same goddamn place. So it ain't no difference in quality. It's just that one gets sent off to France to get the stamp, the other doesn't. It goes directly to the consumer. That's it. That's all. Listen, man, that's all I got to say about this video. But I am thoroughly disgusted by these designer brands. And I would say I'm surprised, but I'm really not because it all makes sense. Bernard Arnault, the CEO of Louis V, he's like the third richest person in the world right now. And that's for a reason. Because he been scamming us out of our draws for the longest, man. And we allowed it to happen. But you know what? All good things must come to an end, man. And these people are getting exposed. I just hope that they get everything that's coming to them, all right? That's my thoughts on the video, man. If you agree or disagree, y'all can let me know in the comments. But until next time, I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side. I'm out of here.